Hey, what's going on everyone? In this video, we're going to be talking about what is technical performance and what tonality is. And this is often brought up a lot in the audiophile circle, so I'm going to dabble a little bit about that. Here we have some of my favorite IEMs, and they're all in different price brackets, ranging from like $20 all the way up to $2,000. So yeah, here we have the The Audio Oracle Original with the Euphrazine cable. It's very nice. And then the IE600's right here. Tangzu Lanner over here. U12T here. Variations, and the Symphonium Audio Helios. So starting off, let's talk about technical performance. So to me, technical performance is a detail. How well separated the elements are. And if you have a critical ear and you listen to lots of compositions that have 6 to 8 different instruments mastered in it, how well did those instruments pop up? How well do they stay in their own pockets? On orchestras, on very, very busy tracks. So starting off with detail, so if you look at our frequency graph, you can't figure out how much detail an IEM is going to have. So I think there are some limitations on the chart. So until something comes out that could tell us, oh, this IEM has this much detail, this IEM has this much detail. But for now, we don't have that, so we have to rely on our own ears and reviewers. So starting with detail, the most detailed IEM I've heard is the U12T. When I'm listening to instruments and very busy tracks, everything stays in its pocket. It just pops up perfectly. Like you could focus on a single individual instrument and just zone in on that specific instrument, where I really can't do that with any other IEM I've ever heard. So yeah, I mean, that's what technical performance is to me, is the detail. And then there are a few more things. So imaging. How well can you pinpoint where the sound is in the mix? Like if the trumpet is here, guitar's right here, flute is dead center, whatever's happening here, a cello or whatever. That's imaging. And the best imaging I've heard is the Sony IER M9. You could it just pops up perfectly, like in terms of it being coherent. And yeah, IER M9 is the best imaging you can buy. And then another thing is the soundstage. So with the soundstage, there's a lot of psychoacoustics going on, and I am a fan of psychoacoustics. I don't know if everyone is, but I'm a big fan of psychoacoustics, especially in IEMs. And what that is basically doing something to the frequency graph, like creating a specific dip in a region, or the lower treble is a little bit recessed. So that lends itself to a different presentation. I'm a really, really big fan of that when IEMs do that. So for example, the U12T has like that upper mid scoop. I actually like that a lot because the vocals are placed more in front of you and not just right left. It's like right in front of you. That's what the high mid scoop does and the 12Ts. And yeah, I mean, soundstage, it's pretty obvious. Like the Oracle, it doesn't have that good of a soundstage, even compared to the variations. What causes that? I don't know. I'm not sure. There's just not enough information for me to know what causes a better soundstage, or there's more height, more depth, more width. I don't know what causes that for now, but it's just what I'm hearing, and I explain it to the best of my abilities. And then another thing is separation. How well separated everything is in a track. So yeah, I mean, those are basically the technical performance side of things. Instrument placement. Does it sound correct where everything is placed? So yeah, and now let's talk about the other aspect, is tonality. So tonality is pretty easy to find. Good tonality, for you don't have to spend that much. I think the hardest part is to get really, really good technical performance. For example, the Tingzu Wanner, this has an A+ for the tonality. Even better than the Sennheiser IE600. However, it doesn't have the best details or the best imaging. So, yeah, I mean, this is an A+ for the tonality, I ranked it as. So I think tonality and technical performance are completely different things. You could have perfect tonality, but you don't get that much detail. And you could have perfect technical performance, but the tuning could be off, or the tonality. For example, the Campfire Audio Aura, people say that has amazing technical performance, but the tonality is off. So it is a trick that you could do with the frequency response, doing certain things, and that dictates how the final sound is going to be. And another thing, this is more of my opinion or more of a theory, is the acoustic chamber. When you use a tubeless technology, everything, like the utility, everything just sounds way more open, airy, and tall, wide, depth. Where all these other IEMs, except the IE600, these four, they're using tubes. Personally, I'm not a fan of tubes because it restricts the sound in a way. And this is just my theory. It's not a fact or anything. And if you guys have more information on some of these things, I'll be more than happy to check it out. And then another thing is that, and for tonality, is the accuracy of instruments. If you've played a guitar, a flute, piano, you should know what correct tonality is. So for example, for like beginners, I guess the easiest way to discern tonality is the human voice, because everyone's heard that, everyone's familiar with that. So the IE600 probably has the worst tonality out of all these other IEMs. Because for voices, that extra treble, 7/8K, it makes the vocals sound zingy and sharp. So that actually does not sound lifelike or realistic at all in terms of the tonality. And then another thing is timbre. Is there any plasticiness? Is there any smoothness? So for example, the Oracle and the Variations, they both have this wispy texture. It's like feather light type of sound, and it's not the best in terms of being incisive and sharper in terms of the instruments. But the tonality is perfect, or close to perfect, on both of these. It's just that the treble could use some work. It could be the drivers in play, because the tuning, if you look at the chart, these two graph amazing. Like, there's not much you can nitpick about. So yeah, I mean, how lifelike does it sound? Accuracy of instruments. So the best IEMs I've heard for accurate instruments and how realistic they sound would be the U12T and the Helios. It just sounds lifelike, realistic, lively, all of those things. So yeah, overall, I really don't think there's enough information to say for certain what causes an IEM to have more detail, or how could we test how wide an IEM sounds. think the best thing is to just watch reviewers, what they say, and maybe look at the graphs, even though they're kind of limited. So overall, that's what I benchmark in an IEM. And yeah, you could have perfect tonality, but the technical performance could be okay. When there's center imaging, it should be dead center. When things are happening on the left side and the right side, it should be three-dimensional. Close to a speaker, actually. And none of these IEMs here sound like a speaker other than the U12Ts, so yeah. So those are my opinions on some of these things, and I do wish in the near future we could figure out if we can measure technical performance, like the things I mentioned: detail, imaging, soundstage separation, instrument placement, and then tonality is fairly easy. It's just how realistic something sounds, lifelike, accuracy of instruments. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And I do have 1 or 2 more IEMs coming in to review. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. And take care.